Hello fellow leggers, you are joining us once again. For anybody who have a map, we are not driving to the theatre.
I know, we're actually driving from an amazing weekend, somewhat an exhausting weekend.
Amazing, it's amazing. Well, we can chat about it.
Yeah, we've been at West End Live this weekend, guys, and can I just say thank you to everybody that came and said hello to us.
Yes.
We had Break a Leg of stickers to give out, and seeing people dotted around wearing them was so delightful. And meeting you and you saying how much you enjoy what we do,
being
honestly.
Shouted at. At
people
one point,
screaming at us from somewhere.
we just heard the Break a Leggers and turn around and
like,
two lovely ladies way back in the distance.
But yes, thank you so much. Just to say, you know, when you tell us how much you enjoy it, it makes it all worthwhile. But my God, am I exhausted? I'm all staged out. Is what I feel like.
One of the acts was On Your Feet, and we were on our feet
for 2 solid days. And we're not getting any younger, are we?
I think it's a lot to ask of any audience to be on your feet. You're lucky if you manage to find yourself a spot with a picnic blanket or somewhere on a terrace where you've got a seat and a good view.
Yeah.
But otherwise, expect to be on your feet for a while.
I was thinking about how people go to festivals and just get stuck in a big crowd of people for 2 days or 3 days.
Man, that's hardcore.
It's really hardcore, guys. So, I mean, we didn't stay for the full sort of 6 hours at a time that you could. I think 4 hours or so was about our limit. But yeah, if you managed to last longer than that, well done, guys.
So,
seriously.
We're going to be talking a little bit about West End Live.
Yes.
We've also got some comments to read out. What order are we going to do this?
Well, actually, we sort of asked 2 points, I think, that have drawn the most comments from the last Anybody Have a Map. And that was mid-show standing ovations.
Okay.
Have they ever happened? Or kind of in tune with that, when have you felt privileged to be at a performance of somebody? I would bulk those 2 things together. Okay. And also show stops. And we've had some great comments about both of those.
Okay.
Which is lovely. So I'm going to start with one from I've bought another ticket. I mean, I feel your pain because I literally have to call you up all the time and go, I'm really, really sorry. But
sort of an accident has happened. I
don't
know how, but
a
couple of tickets from a show that is coming up just happened to fall into the basket.
Just happens.
It's usually how that conversation goes.
You know how it is, guys. You know what happens. This one about the final night at Waitress with the original West End cast. 3 mid-show standing ovations, Kat McPhee, Laura Baldwin and Jack McBrayer, who left that evening. Any last night of a significant cast member is a bit of a law unto itself, isn't it?
Yes, you're going to get a
press
different
night situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a completely different experience. Also, people saying Patti LuPone's last performance, well, the last company show, basically. Patti performance last, Ladies at Lunch.
That was a special show.
Yeah.
Come on, when is it going over? They've not announced anything to do with any transfers for that.
No,
which is surprising.
I think they will at some point.
I think Miss Freeman is on it.
It could make an appearance on Broadway, absolutely.
Okay.
Also, mid-show, same person saying they had a show stop when a young orphan Annie went sick and had to be replaced. And I imagine when you're dealing with kids and it's such an ask, is it more common with kids that you would have a show stop for a... No, they're just bloody professional, aren't they?
No, I think kids are probably really resilient and less likely to speak up unless they're on death's door. Whereas complete generalisation and assumptions, but I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't say it was any more likely.
But another ticket also said that at the opening night of Titanic at the Mayflower, the ceiling fell down just after the iceberg scene, and it was so realistic everyone just thought it was part of the show.
The ceiling of what? The theatre?
Ceiling of
the set?
Set, I believe, from what I've seen.
Of the dining room on stage?
I only realised it was serious when the stage management was shouting, "Get off the stage!" to the cast, and the show was cancelled immediately, and they had to return 2 days later.
Oh my days.
But you would in a show like that where it's a calamity, you would
just think they're hitting the iceberg.
That's just a good scene,
everything's
isn't
shaking, all part of the action.
So that was a great comment, thank you so much for that. Jono commented, felt privileged to see Imelda Staunton in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Yes, now
Absolutely
we
agree
love
with
that.
that.
I also felt privileged in that performance to see Conleth Hill.
Yeah.
Conleth Hill, I only knew him from Game of Thrones, and yet is he an Olivier Award-winning actor as well?
Sure is, yeah.
And I thought the two of them were fantastic.
You need that's a duo part, isn't it? That's something
duo.
You need a good someone to bounce off in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and those pair together were an absolute force to be reckoned with.
Yes,
Completely.
it certainly was. At the Pinto, wasn't it?
Do you know what? We stan them both. Have you heard this? We stan them. I think you're a bit old.
What does that mean?
It's like we're
stan
Uber
them?
fans. Yeah.
S-T-A-N?
Yeah, we don't use it. But lots of people do. I've heard it more and more, even
When
at work.
you say we don't use it, do you mean because we're
not hip.
But if we were here,
if you're an uber fan of something to the point of being violently obsessed,
yes,
you're a stan. Because you know the Eminem song where he's stan and
yes,
he's a violently
yes.
obsessive fan.
Yeah.
If you stan somebody, you are a violently obsessive
Well, I
fan.
want to be cool. I want to be hip.
Yeah,
so
but do you
stan
wanna
is
be-
what I'm going to start.
Do you want to
use.
go to what I say is, do you, for your love and your passion, would you go as far as, because it's murder in that, isn't
Would
it?
I
And
go as far as
stalking.
to stan them?
He murders
no, probably not.
He murders his girlfriend. I mean,
Probably
it's not great connotation.
But that's a bit disturbing, actually,
Little bit.
isn't it?
Yeah, we
stan. I don't know if I do want to adopt that. I want to be young and cool and hip, but I don't know if I want to go.
You're not going to
murdering and obsessed.
Lock me in the
stalk
trunk and drive off a bridge.
Yeah, maybe that's going a bit too far.
Maybe. They also said Patti LuPone and Company was a real highlight. And
Given.
Jason
yes.
Watkins in Frozen. We didn't see Frozen.
No.
That was such a shame, actually. I'd like to have seen that. Apparently that deals with some very tricky subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't really know that show so well. Now, just very quickly, want to talk about Dave Smith, who has said that we're teasing him with the Q&A that we keep promising.
We do.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think we've got to be honest to our Lega community. We've been wanting to do a Q&A for a long time.
Yes.
We wanted to do this way back last September.
Yeah, we did.
Not before.
But the questions that you've asked in there, Dave, I'm going to keep a note of them. So when we get round to the Q&A, we will.
And as we keep on saying, there is something in the pipeline.
You're just a little bit out of focus, dear.
It's always the
Story
way.
of your life, isn't it? That. So I'm fine. My light is great. Just so you know.
This is how I look good. A bit of fuzz on the screen.
It's Vaseline on the lens, isn't it? That's what it is. Just
on
keeping
my
you
side.
nice, just on your side.
Keeps me young.
Also, Dave Smith said planning a space for an applause must be quite a skill when you're putting a show together. More often than not, they want to applause, but the structure doesn't let it. And you see a performer exit without getting the applause that they've deserved sometimes.
But sometimes there are shows where it does feel laboured. And there are shows when it is well constructed, such as what we just saw recently, Adrian Mole musical, which the review will be out now, and that was structured really well. They pushed through and hit the applause points. When it works, it really stands out as working.
It does. Ben Vick
seems to go. I'm just I have control over the light.
Yeah, don't
It
do
seems
that.
to flicker whenever I move my hand.
It's magic.
The magic I have.
Do you know what?
Over
Don't
the
move your
contrast.
hand like that then.
I won't move my hand.
Great.
Apologies.
If anyone has photosensitive epilepsy.
Yes,
so
this video
sorry.
contains strobe lighting.
But when you do that,
Yeah.
Oh, not when I do it though.
No.
Strangely.
Weird.
Ben Vick once attended a college production of. Now I'm trying to wrap my brain at what this acronym is. Liliom. Lilium. It must be an acronym. So Liliom.
Liliom.
Yeah.
Liliom.
Yeah.
Not enough words.
No.
Leave.
Don't know.
Comment below.
Comment below if you can work that out, because my brain is dead right now from too much West End Live.
And who was that comment from?
Ben Vick said.
Ben Vick. When someone comments the right answer, let them know.
Yeah. Said that a fake fire alarm happened when they attended a college production of Liliom, and the firemen arrived with sirens, hoses, axes, much noise and commotion. The audience and actors just stood around chatting until it was all straightened out, and that was the best part of the show.
It says it all.
Yikes! Have you ever been saved by
Saved
by the bell?
A get out of jail free card.
Absolutely. Also, peaking early, a couple of people have commented the same show actually and said Lion King. It's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
Well,
apparently,
it is a great
the first
opening number. Yeah, well, they performed it just at West End. West End Live.
But they didn't do it in the way that they do it in the show. It's a spectacle in the show.
And when they just sang it,
It's
was
iconic.
a stonking number.
It is.
It sounds great. The choral arrangements and those vocals from the three leads are great.
Also, Ben, just wanted to say your guess at where the Paris Hilton and the apple tree was from, not quite right. It's actually from title of show. They're talking about celebrity casting in that and who they could get in their show to get some audiences, and someone says, well, who wants to see Paris Hilton in the apple tree?
Okay.
Lots of people, apparently.
Lots of people.
I keep umming. I'm just so tired, guys. I love this comment from Merlin X, and gotta say, applaud your dedication. On your 55th visit to School of Rock,
amazes me.
There was a show stopped for 5 to 10 minutes because the electric drum kit just decided to play itself. Just sort of completely just
possessed.
Go, no, I'm taking this moment.
A poltergeist moment, where it just suddenly takes over the drum kit and just starts going crazy.
They never had a show stop in any of the other times, so that's pretty good going, isn't it?
55
solid
shows.
Show over at School of Rock, over at the New London. They're not messing that up.
So do you like the show? If you've seen it that many times, I'm just wondering.
Maybe they just like to pick it apart. No, clearly they like the show.
I mean, we did like it when we saw it as well.
Some more privileged to witness comments. Tom MJS89, Cynthia Erivo in the colour purple.
Yes, now
said it was like a religious experience.
I've got to say, the performance of her, look it up on YouTube, at the Tony Awards, is mesmerising. I must have watched that about 50 times. It is an absolutely blinding performance. Take your breath away. She owns that venue and she owns that Tony Award performance. Amazing. Just
Amber
saying.
Riley in Dreamgirls, we heard a lot about that. We didn't see her. But
Amber Riley?
Yeah. Which a lot of people rave about. Also, interestingly, Sally Field in All My Sons.
Interesting.
Tom said delivered a true masterclass in acting and left them speechless.
Maybe it was where you were sat.
Maybe.
Because we were sat in second. Maybe we'll talk about that in a bit.
Maybe we should talk about it now.
Talk about it right now?
Yes.
Talk about where you sit? Because we often have this discussion.
Yes.
Actually, about how should where you sit affect your enjoyment and your engagement.
Yes.
And what is your view on that, Leg Assignment?
It shouldn't do.
Why
is that? Because I have enjoyed things. I have given a 5-star review and had the most engaging, captivating experience from a cheap, restricted view seat.
Can you give some of those examples?
I'm too.
Okay, I can for us.
Okay.
So Come From Away, we were up the top, and that was a 5-star show.
Yeah.
We heard every single word. We could see everything that happened. Phoenix isn't a huge theatre, but you have to go in through the peasants' entrance. Yeah, the peasants' entrance, separate stairwell, all the way up to the top, and I think we were sat quite far to the back. But it was a 5-star show.
Absolutely, and it didn't. So therefore, does it make that much of an impact?
Yes, I do.
Because I've sat front row for things before, and I thought they were crap.
Starry Messenger. People seem to have a real mixed experience
of
the Starry Messenger.
Definition of a Marmite show, really.
See, they hear that. No, I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah.
I was on the front row.
Okay.
We were on the front row.
We were.
It wasn't great on the front row because it's very high.
The stages
they've got to
here,
revolve.
I felt a bit like a perv.
I think it was higher than that.
Peering into the.
I was having to do it like
sort
this.
Of having to do that.
But
don't recommend those seats.
Did that affect my engagement in the show?
Well, we gave
so.
it 5, and people that have sat anywhere but the front row seem to have hated it. I've had lots of people comment that they walked out halfway through.
Ouch. Hamlet, Andrew Scott started off at the Almeida Theatre and then transferred to the Pinta.
Yes, it did, but we were mid stalls for that in the Almeida as well, which is a tiny little venue, so it wasn't even a big cross arch house. However, it's maybe 400 seats at the Almeida, maybe.
Yeah, however,
small.
I felt as if you weren't in the first 3 rows, you didn't enjoy that performance. It was just too small.
With the exception of whatever Juliet Stevenson does, she manages to reach every single person in the audience, and her performance was the standout for me, irrespective of the way it was staged. I couldn't take my eyes off her from the moment she walked out. And
so she was the exception in that cast.
She was the exception in that cast.
Yeah, and I think you're right, it shouldn't matter. You should get the same experience wherever you are as in the engagement, but that's not gonna happen. That's why ticket prices are lower the further away you get. That's why you play for the privilege of being in the premiere view.
Wrong.
What do you mean closer? So
because
where's that
we
different?
sat front row at Present Laughter.
But that's a rush ticket.
But we sat front row for Starry Messenger.
That again is a restricted view because you like this.
Correct, but it's a cheap seat. So you said price point.
Yeah,
and
so
that's
you're
not
engaged.
true.
So you're sacrificing then your comfort.
Yeah, comfort,
or
but
risking
not price
seeing the show
point.
or not if it's a rush ticket.
Yeah.
Because we were just lucky to get the rush ticket. We may not have been able to see the show at all.
Maybe.
In which case, again, unless you're privileged and you can get that top A price band, then your enjoyment is going to be different.
But is it? Because
Yes,
we've said it's
it
not
is.
always. Because
It's not always. There are some shows where the show
Some
is
shows are
good
just
enough
bad.
that some shows are just bad, and some shows are just good. For some shows, your enjoyment of them is gonna just be better. Affected, yeah, and that seems like a no-brainer. And I know this is a conversation we as Leggers have had many a time and don't always agree on, but it shouldn't, but it does.
what about you though? Tell us about where you've sat. Maybe if you've seen a show twice and you've sat in different places, have you enjoyed it more or less the second time round? I enjoyed Hamilton less from a cheaper seat the second time that we saw it
Yeah, the sound was completely different.
because the sound was completely different.
Yeah, but our view was different, so I appreciated the set a lot more.
Yeah.
And just the lighting elements, because I could see everything in its entirety. A lot more context in terms of set.
So leave us a comment down below if you felt it's affected you, or like I said, we're really interested to see when you've seen a show twice and you've sat in different places about how you've engaged or how it's moved you.
Okay, are we on to West End Live?
We're on to West End Live.
Gosh!
Now, lots going on at West End Live this year. The queuing seemed to be something that was a little bit less organised than had been in previous
Well,
years.
there are people who are big musical theatre fans who would, under normal situations, be kill someone to get to West End Live, who had boycotted it this year.
Just said, I'm not going to bother. It's not worth the ramble, the fight, the rush, the
because
stress,
of the queuing system.
It's just not worth it. And we have been in previous years where we felt we've just been able to walk in almost.
But that's because we've been later in the day, I think. I think if you get there after 2 o'clock on either of the days, you can literally just walk in pretty much.
You've missed most of the big stuff.
You've missed most of the content, especially on the Saturday, because all of the big main shows are then performing their matinees, so they're no longer around. So you can stick around for stuff that are fillers or that are out of town.
It'd be interesting to know if you've been and how you found the queuing system, how you felt about the way it's set up. Should it remain a free event, or should it be in a location that can handle a bigger capacity? Should they move it to Hyde Park and literally then the capacity is not so limited?
Too many discussions there.
Because we got to the point we went day one and it got to the point where we weren't that late, and they said we're at capacity already and it's a 1 in 1 out situation. You know, letting them one out, then someone else goes in. So your queue time is going to be seriously affected by that, because they're hosting it in a space that has a breaking point, or quite a low. I think 60,000 people is what I've heard.
Okay, so you're asking 2 questions: should it be free, and should it be held in Trafalgar Square?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Trafalgar Square is fine, actually. I think Central is good. If you're talking about West End, the heart of musical theatre, in order for logistically to get all of the acts into Trafalgar Square and then back to their shows seems a lot easier if it's Trafalgar Square, because that's the heart of London. Capacity-wise, there's something about demand as well. If you hit peak and you have to stop letting people in, then doesn't that make the demand go up and then make it quite a popular event? Makes people have to get there earlier, which keeps the demand high. There's something in that.
So it's a marketing strategy is what you're asking.
Potentially, yeah, I think there's a clever angle there. Should it be free? Now that's a separate conversation. Why should it not be free?
I'm not suggesting it shouldn't. I'm just asking you the question: should it be free?
Hell yes.
Really bothers me.
Fixing the focus.
Fixing up the focus.
Yeah. Well, if we're having the conversation, yes, it should be free, because what is it for? What's the aim of West End Live?
I think we'll move on to that. I think that's the next point we need to talk about, is what is the point of it?
It's a marketing tool.
It's a great event. It's there for everybody. But if you think it's just there to stay as a celebration of musical theatre, I think that is slightly naive. It's there for you to compel you to buy a ticket
when you
to
say
see their
you,
show.
I
Anybody,
think it's
me,
more,
you, anybody.
I think you're always going to get at West End Live like hardcore musical theatre fans.
Yes.
Because you know your favourite shows. If you've been to see School of Rock 55 times, for example, and you know the School of Rock are going to be performing, I'd probably think you're going to want to go and see them on West End Live, right?
Well, they weren't there that year, but...
They weren't, but if they were, do you know what I mean? If you are that committed to a show, and you want to see them in different contexts where you don't have to pay for a ticket, then you would turn up for that. But I think West End Live is also capitalising on people who are just passing by in London, who are like, what is that? What's going on there? Oh, West End Live. Let's go in. Let's go and have a listen. Oh, I didn't know about that musical. That one seems cool. Oh, that one seems cool as well. Let's go and buy a ticket.
So it's there
for the layman,
targeted at the non-musical theatre fanatics.
Yes.
Okay. So it's.
I think that's why they do it.
It's great
right?
that
to
everyone enjoys it, but it's not been made for those people that are going to buy a ticket anyway, that have seen the show several times, that are going to keep going back. They're
not
there
just
to
a
sell.
fan.
It's a business, isn't it? At the end of the day,
Yeah, absolutely.
This industry is wonderful, but it's also there to make money, and the only reason it survives is because it does make money. And as soon as it stops, the show ends. That's the tall and short of it.
Although
the long and thin, the fat and stubby. I don't know.
I do wonder where they do make their money. They must be making a lot of money on, because there's not that much in terms of merchandise.
No, you
there's
can buy
T-shirts,
West
mugs, tote
End
bags, magnets. We're just saying West End Live, but I can't imagine that makes them
not
masses of money. Not enough to put on the show. There's a lot in terms of sponsoring. Was it Magic Radio?
There must be sponsorship, and there's some banks sponsor it too. So Salt that put it on must be making their money from sponsorship and having those adverts around, right?
They must be making money in terms of drinks, which again we've got to talk about Watergate.
West End Watergate.
West End Watergate. The host on the second day, one of the host compares, I guess it was Jason Mumford.
Yeah.
And he was hilarious.
I'd heard it on day one the same. The compares must have been told, please remind everybody, because it's a hot day, keep drinking, stay hydrated.
So something they were saying was keep drinking. Jason Mumford was really funny. I thought he was Manford. Sorry, Mumford. Mumford and Sons. Jason Manford.
He can sing, but he's not in the band.
He was a brilliant compere. Like, he was hilarious, and he made a joke about, don't pass out. It spoils it for everyone.
Yeah.
It was really, really funny. He's a funny guy. However, as you're coming in, word is that the security are removing water and open drinks from people's bags.
Day 2, because we didn't experience day 1.
Was it just on day 2?
I hadn't heard anybody mention it day 1. Also, I had open drinks in my bag on day 2.
I had a drink
one
on
and
day 1.
2.
So,
and I didn't get it taken off.
I also saw loads of bottles being collected at the bag point as well. So is this the thing? Was that what's happening?
Changed.
But did something change? Comment below what your experience was in terms of drinks and West End Live. I understand it's probably to make sure there's no alcohol coming in, but they're selling Pimm's, so I don't know what the ruling is in that.
Seems very...
Is there a Watergate?
Messages.
Is there a Drinksgate, or is this just something?
Hashtag West End Watergate.
West End Watergate. Also, while we're on, can we talk about your experience in the queue while we're queuing
guys,
today?
you know I've got issues, right?
Don't mess with Leg Simon.
Just don't mess with me. So the same way that I'm going to call you out if your theatre etiquette is bad, because you're going to ruin the enjoyment for everyone else around you. And I know I'm not there to police everybody, so don't at me and say it's not your job to tell people off. But you know what? I just think like somebody has to make a stand. Somebody has to take control in these situations. And we had a queue jumper in the West End Live queue.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of saying rue the day that you break etiquette while Leg Simon is around, because you will know about it. Or if something is going on, then pray that Leg Simon is around to police it and sort it out for you. So the queue.
The queue.
Queues
do
are
you want
long,
to talk about
man.
what the actual situation was? Because we didn't notice the queue jumper.
The queues are long. The queues are going back right round from Trafalgar Square all the way past Haymarket, all the way up to the Book of Mormon Prince of Wales Theatre. We walked and past people. there are a couple of roads as well, so there are opportunities.
Intersections.
Yeah, opportunities where people could sneak into the queue and join if people around them weren't aware. We made some nice friends with a couple of ladies in front of us, had some lovely conversation about theatre they'd seen, theatre we'd seen, getting stickers. Anyway, we're getting close to Trafalgar Square, and we thought we saw someone nip in front of us, but then a couple of girls behind us said, actually, the girl just behind us has just
literally just
joined in the queue as well.
And we've been in the queue a good 20 minutes.
Simon was like, what?
So
What?
I just confronted her and I said, excuse me, were you in the queue the whole time the queue was formed? Did you join the queue at the back of the queue?
Now, at this point, I've got to say, anybody has got a couple of options, right? You kind of say, if you realise you're in that, because it could be an honest mistake.
Yeah.
The queue goes back and it weaves off in different roads because there's more than one queue. This lady at this point had the opportunity to just go,
I didn't realise.
I'm really sorry, didn't realise. Let me head back. Or, do you mind if I join in here? Anything could happen. There could have been an apology there. There could have been an acceptance.
Because we sort of accepted that the girls that had said she jumped the queue didn't have a personal vendetta against this woman to start anything. She must have joined them the queue. You wouldn't accuse somebody of jumping a queue unless you had said
Why
it.
would they do
and
that
they
unless
didn't,
they were sure?
They clearly didn't have, because some people completely didn't have the, what would it be? Assertiveness or confidence to tackle the situation.
That's why we're here, Leggers, to police the theatre and etiquette for you, so you don't have to.
So I just asked the question, did you join the queue at the back? And how did she react to that? Rather than saying, I didn't realise this wasn't the back.
Well, I got to say kudos to her in a way, because she owned it.
I had to
ask
her.
I didn't.
I had to ask her if she was an actress, because the way she turned it on, guys, I've never seen anything like it. She was like, how dare you? I can't believe you would do that. Of course I joined the queue at the back. Oh my God, how could you even accuse me of this? Like, it was the most melodramatic sort of
and
these
two
performance
girls
that she put
on.
on.
These two girls were then joining and going, no you didn't.
Yeah,
you joined just there.
You just jumped in.
But then this melodramatic woman then turned to the people behind her and said, you saw me. I've been here all the time, haven't I? And they were like,
they were like,
I don't know. But I think she held on to it so steadfastly because you did it in quite a public way, and I think embarrassment overtook her that once she'd started, she couldn't stop, and she had to go for
guys.
it. And she tried to play game. I got to say, to a point, I was with it, but then I was a bit like, oh please, ground, swallow me up. Legger Simon is on one. Let me just kind of, if I close my eyes, it'll go away.
Aggressive,
apart from when you're laughing like, that's amazing acting.
I was just completely overwhelmed by the fact that she went to this extreme, and I just didn't know what to do with myself other than laugh at it and go, okay, if that's what you're going to maintain, this is hilarious stuff. But
she was thoroughly shamed and publicly shamed.
And do you know what? It works, doesn't it? Because she
didn't go away anywhere.
I mean, that in Game of Thrones, right? I basically have had that bell in front of her.
You wanted to strip her naked and for us to march her around Trafalgar Square saying, shame, shame, West End Line, queue jumper, shame.
The problem is, right, I'm going to call you out on it, like, if something happens to somebody, because I just don't believe in this self-entitlement that you are more important than anyone else that is there. We're all equal in this world, guys, irrespective of age, sex, race, gender, all of these things. We're just human, and I think that we all need to respect that we are as entitled, which I hate the word, but we're as much entitled to be there as anybody else. And if we've all had to wait, and that's the system that's set up, then everyone needs to abide by it. It's just respect is what it is, guys. It's respectful. So just be warned. Like, I'm just going to call you out.
Where were we last night? We were at the Almeida last night, and I'm going to say it is to be done in the public way because someone in front of me got out their phone, started checking their messages. I thought when the screen flashed up, I thought, maybe it's just notification.
Or maybe they're turning it off, or their sound off, or vibration.
But this is halfway through the act, mind. But anyway, when they start tapping into apps, no. And I just said, do you mind turning your phone off, please? Thank you. But in such a way that was loud enough for the people around to also hear, so that shame element starts to take over. Do you know what I mean?
And also those people know not to do the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
Passive aggressive?
Well, I'd say
'Cause you're not-
assertive.
Okay.
No, because I'm being assertive, but I'm just making sure. You may be passive aggressive in making other people.
The
hear.
way I see it, right, is if that person that's queue jumped thinks twice about it next time, just in case I'm around, or someone else is around that is going to do it, then if they don't do it next time because they're worried about that, then I've won.
I think it
We
is.
know everybody's won, guys. We've all won because we've all abided by the rules, and everyone's in a better place.
It is very stereotypical to say that's a kind of British quality of like just being polite and letting things happen and not addressing things. Okay, so West End Live, that was one of our experiences.
Yeah.
I've got to say, a big thing seemed to be And Juliet seemed to have a real big hype around it.
Yeah, and it had a lot. I mean, the numbers that they did, because it's a jukebox musical with pop songs in it.
Big pop songs as well, not just pop songs, but like
raw number ones.
The hits.
Yeah, big
the
number
biggest
ones.
hits.
Then I think the familiarity took over there, and people felt like they were in safe hands because they knew it, and everyone
could sing along.
And regardless of your musical theatre experience, if that had been your first time you've ever been to something like that, you don't necessarily need to know anything about musical theatre to enjoy And Juliet, at least the performances they gave at West End Live. I mean, the storyline I'm yet to be convinced over, because on paper I think I would have read it and gone, is this a joke? Like, are you serious right now?
We've had many conversations about this. You've not been sold by the story yet.
No, do you know what? I'm going to see it. Like, and I'm going to be open-minded about it. But on paper, I would have looked at it and gone. I mean, look it up, guys. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I would have gone. Oh,
well, we can share. It's the story of after Juliet.
No, it's not even that.
After Romeo and Juliet, instead of her killing
it's
herself, it's an alternative ending.
Alternative reality.
Alternative reality.
Yeah.
Romeo kills himself, and then Juliet, instead of killing herself, is kind of like, nah. Why should I bother?
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
He wasn't
all
no
that.
big deal anyway. Like,
and gets on with their life.
It just completely undermines Shakespeare.
But
and the whole
it's
thing.
artistic license, right?
I mean,
however, if someone had said to me about 6, there's going to be the 6 queens, telling their story to hip hop style, I would have gone, ooh. Okay, so
Hamilton's
on paper,
a bit of a risk, isn't it?
Even Hamilton to a degree,
yeah.
So I don't know if we can be sold, but however, so although the concept we're yet to see it,
went down a storm at West End Live.
It went down a real storm. There's real hype. The performances were great. The songs we know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think which was the first one. Is it "It's My Life"?
Bon Jovi.
Yeah, everybody knows it. Everyone was singing at the top of the voices. I really like the colour scheme to their marketing. This big, bright pink,
pinky, purpley, yellowy sort of colours.
And this kind of is it And Juliet?
Yes.
And there's this And Peggy.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking Miriam T.
Peggy.
Lee being in Hamilton, and the Aunt Peggy sort of situation, because I'm sure she's understudied Peggy at times. Was she Angelica? No, she was Peggy. Was she Peggy? I'm sure she saw her as Peggy.
Well, if she did do Peggy, she also would have done the I can't say no to this. Is that the one?
Yeah, Mariah. Miss Mariah Reynolds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Comment below. We hope it's right.
But I think it's just she gets an And Peggy, and now she's gone And Juliet. I wonder what she'll do next. And what?
And it's not
Tom, Dick, and Harry, right?
And Harry.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. She'll just do the Guildenstern.
And Guildenstern, but it's not the musical. It's her musical again, which I think is a good play.
Feminism
play on words,
angle.
And that's all out there today. And it looks as if it had great diverse casting as well. So. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
It had some real hype
I'm
this
apprehensive,
weekend.
I'm not going to lie. Whichever performances did you particularly enjoy? I thought Waitress did a great job 2 days running.
I think Waitress, because it's an original score, so people don't know it so well. I think if you don't know musical theatre, if you don't know it's come over from Broadway, it's less familiar to you. But the performances were great.
Yeah. A lot of love for Adrian Mole as well. I've seen a lot of people saying about how much they enjoyed that. So
again, we've just reviewed that, so see that up there.
Yeah, that was really, really good too.
That's one you should see, actually, and when they release the cast recording,
you should listen to it.
Give that a listen to.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed the Barricade Boys.
I really loved the Barricade Boys.
I think it was something a bit different. Although they've said, was it 4 years in a row they've been there?
Yeah.
It's Les Mis, so it's no hip hop. It's very different to some of the other stuff that's out there when you listen to On Your Feet and Juliet and stuff. But I thought just different songs we know interpreted differently sang really well by 4 really strong voices.
Absolutely. I felt like when they say, oh, you can't do one day more with just like one of you and singing all the parts, I feel like someone had said like, you can't do one day more with just 4 men harmonising, and they went, hold my beer, and they bloody did it anyway.
And then they dropped the mic.
They did drop the mic. They did an absolutely fantastic
And they sounded
job.
great.
They did. Handsome guys as well, very talented, very, very talented. So were you at West End Live? What were your highlights? Have you watched things on YouTube since? Because all of the clips get put out by official London theatre-y people, sold that West End Live accounts.
So they should start showing up on YouTube.
Yeah, so let us know what you thought down below. And next year, I just think it's a really exhausting couple of days, isn't it? I'm knackered. I really am.
It is.
Too
We
cold.
had the weather as well. The
Hot.
weather was good.
You know, it tires you out when it's too hot, and you come off a plane in a different country. Like, whoo! I was like that for 2 whole days. I really was.
Well, I liked singing at the top of my lungs.
You weren't doing that, and every time I did, you told me off.
Well, that's usually because it's more intimate.
Oh, when they did Jesus Christ Superstar,
intimate
you know
stuff. I want to listen.
What number's that? Jesus.
No.
I had my moment with
Like a
my
Simon.
started to believe the talk
like a
of God
Simon.
is true.
Sound like a cat being
Jesus.
murdered.
I had my moment, right?
Nobody wants to hear us singing.
And you were like, no one wants to hear you do that.
Or
I
do
was
they?
having a good time.
What? Do you know what? I've been thinking about this, Lega Simon. Do our Lega community want to hear us sing a song?
I don't think they want to hear me sing a
Well,
song.
we are on this because this is kind of like a carpool karaoke setup.
Oh,
right?
so this is what we're going to do. Are we going to rip off James Corden? Is that what this is going to become?
We're kind of doing that anyway, aren't we?
Well, a little
Isn't
bit,
that
I
what this is?
suppose.
Apart from we don't have any celebrities.
I know,
or
yeah.
The
No
contacts.
No famous
Just
faces here. though.
Talking about
Just,
that.
yeah.
But should we sing
could
a
call
song?
on a couple of people, but I don't want to get them in this car. The little leggers of it, it's a bit of a mess.
Would you want to sing a song, Lega Simon?
No, I wouldn't want to sing a song.
Can we sing a song now?
No, can't sing
What's
a
going
song
to
now.
convince you to sing a song?
Something that's not going to happen, like something like if this Anybody Have a Map gets 100 likes, which it won't because they only ever get like 30.
Yeah, is that a challenge, Lega
No,
Simon?
because it's not going to happen.
So if we get an X amount, how many likes? 100.
500.
Not 500.
Go on, 500.
500 likes. Look, if we get 100 likes, Lega Simon, would you sing a song
think
as
about
part
it.
of God? That will be a song. And if we don't, that means that our
No
Lega
one wants
community
to hear
do
us-
not want to
no one
hear
wants
us
to hear
singing.
me sing.
Because I'm thinking it's a bit like who is it? Is it Jane McDonald? Come the end of her program,
Cruising with Jane McDonald.
always breaks
Full
into a
production
song.
number, guys. We'll
At
have
the
people
end.
popping up in the back, right? I'd love that. That'd be something
So
amazing.
come the end of our next
Just to hear me
Anybody
sing,
Have a
I don't
Map,
know.
we
We
have
get
a
100
song.
likes, then we'll talk. We'll
Okay.
talk.
So there's a challenge, Leggers.
Okay.
Just hit like, please.
Maybe it's a good job you drive because I might need a drink that day. Like I might have to be 6 sheets to the wind. Anyway, let's wrap it up, guys. So
We're coming to the
talk
end.
to us about West End Live. Chat to us below. What was the first thing we spoke about again? I'm very tired.
We were talking about seats. Does
Yeah,
your
so where have
seat-
you sat? Has it affected your experience? We love your comments. We read every single one of them. We'll
There's
try
a
to
bit
shout some
Francesca
out.
in there as well. Queue jumping.
Queue
in
jumping,
there.
right? Why has that happened?
Being
Do
assertive.
you know what the worst queue jumping would be? Not the worst. I'm sure there'll be worst. Like postcode lotteries for drugs. No, but I'm not getting political. But you know, like what the worst would be if you were in a rush situation. You know, like a rush ticket situation, and somebody jumped the queue, and then there weren't enough tickets to get to you.
Yeah.
That would be dreadful, wouldn't it? That would be
Just
dreadful.
relating it back to
Surely
theatre.
that's never happened. We're all far too well behaved for that, right? Right? Let me know down below.
Anyway,
Yeah, we're the Breaker Leggers.
and we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.